Hi, this is Ruben. I'd like to walk you through one of Enterprise Architect's features. It is model-driven generation, and it helps to generate process documents and any documentation that is required. So, to give you an overview, Enterprise Architect provides the business information and technology architecture models and supports construction of architecture building blocks and solution building blocks. This is something I'm going to look at next in model-driven architecture. So our primary goal here is only to create a perfect model for the project with annotations, which automatically gets transformed into process documents. So we are going to follow the agile methodology here. That is, we are not paying too much attention to the documentation or the process steps, but whatever is required, we try to design the system well so that any documentation that is required will be taken care of automatically. So what are the benefits? There's a division of labor between groups and teams. There's a document object model template for reusability, content sharing without the cut copy paste. I'll come to that. Cross traceability for requirements mapping so that there's no dropping of requirements, and focus on creating the model framework for a project which can create the CMMI level 5 process documents as required. So let's go into Enterprise Architect. I'll provide a quick overview of what has been done. Now if you see here the model, you have Virtusa process templates. This is one document model that I've added here. So it's using the same requirements template model. Let me explain all the available models available in Enterprise Architect. So first you have the business process model. So architects can come here, they can just provide the design of that business processes that exists in the project, and they move out. And similarly BA can provide the requirements, so you can show like each requirement is composed of many other requirements, and this is all there is to it. When you click on any requirements, you see the notes. So we try to use the same model for the document generation. So we have used this requirements model to create the same, and here you can see the functional requirements, the business rules, all are provided by BAs. So basically they just need to click any requirement and drop it on screen and provide whatever text is required. And there is a lot of functionality added here so that you can show the status or the requirement, whether it's difficult, priority, and all these can be used later for project management too. So let me just delete this requirement here, we don't need it. Okay, now you have use case models. So all requirements can be mapped to use cases, and all of the models are mapped to these use cases, not to the requirement. So use cases help you to define quickly what you need to do and create the 4+1 views that you need, your basic screens or interaction diagrams, your activity diagrams, and your use case. So you don't need it everywhere, but where it is required you can use it, and it will automatically generate the required documentation as well. So then you have the domain model. You may not use it everywhere, but if you are following an MDA model, you would first create a domain model which explains the different objects or different nouns in the system, and you have different attributes and their relationship to each other. So from this it is possible to generate your database model and your class model based on any framework. So we are not going there in depth right now. So to explain a DB model, This was actually generated from the class model, and we have the class model, which can be designed for any framework. Here you can see we have used the JSF framework and create the manage classes. You've created the manager classes, which provide the CRUD operations. You have the service classes, and you have utils and value objects, your DTOs. So these are some objects that we have generated from using MDA, but this is just to show that you can use any model you want. You might have a question of what if you already have an existing project. You could just right click it, could go to code engineering and import source directory. So you can select any language you require and import the source. So once you have the source, you can generate all the other artifacts or any artifact that is required for the project. And from the class model we come down to the component model. So we have some idea of the different components that you're going to create. You could also explain in detail how they interact and what will be the services that will be provided here. You have reference models, so you could design your current architecture and explain the layout. So these are your basic models that are supported. Of course you have test cases and user interface models. It just helps you to design screens and layouts, but preferably I'd rather use a visual designer tool, because it's much easier and quicker to build a user interface using other HTML tools or any other visual designer. It supports to some extent, but I believe that there could be a lot of improvement here. And test models, yes, you can have test cases, you have unit test plans, you have test cases and test plans that you generate or create. So let us go into each one in detail, so we'll know what are the models. So these are the models for any project. Now you can choose which one you need to keep and which one you don't require. So it is not a must that you should go into any of these models. So an architect could be working on business process, while the BA could be working here on the use case model. So similarly, it helps to integrate the team members and work together and deliver something very quickly. So let's go into the process documents and I'll explain what's been done. So for any project, you could have requirements, use case, domain, database, class, component, reference, models, and the test models. So and user interface if required. So these are the models supported by Enterprise Architect. Now for Virtusa, we've created a separate process document template, and for business requirement document you have certain sections. So now this is how we do real-time collaboration. You said division of labor between groups and teams, and you have the document object model, which I just showed, and we'll just go in details right now. So we have content sharing, which is supported without cut, copy, paste, because we are designing for an enterprise product or a domain or a particular technology which could remain constant throughout, and if you require any section, you could just export that. For instance, if there is something about this class model or your component model or your reference model that you wish to use, I could just take that part and I could export it to an XML file. This XML file can be read by another project, so it allows export and import. And it also has cross traceability, which will go in detail, and focus on creating the model framework. So this is our model framework. we just make sure that we design what is required. For instance, for the BRD document, the pre-sales or BA has to fill in the purpose, scope, definition. So he just double clicks here, he comes here, and he can type his notes here. You could, let's just keep this here. So you could change this scope so it allows us to edit text where we require, and that's, and an architect could be working at the same time at the process. He could also present the current architecture as it exists. So they are essentially working together on the same document, and one person is not responsible for the entire document, but there will be a collaboration of different people. And so there are parts that you can divide between a BA, a pre-sales team. There are some just textual artifacts like this where you need to only provide the text input, or like if I should take you there, if you double click any of these documents, you fill in what are the requirements at a granular level if required. So we have a clear segregation of who does what. So taking any model, so for instance we took the Virtusa BRD model here. There are many other models. We have DSRS model, we have DSTD model, and we have architecture documents, and we have QATP. So all these documents help us to generate the required process documents without having to concentrate on any one of those. And by entering some documents in BRD document, it's cross-linked with it's not cross-linked, like providing the functional or any requirements here automatically helps to generate many other documents. So basically by having sections automatically generate some content of other documents, you're ensuring that the work done here goes and gets reused by other people generating this document. For instance, in a architecture document, you might require your use case descriptions, or DSTD may require use case descriptions, and those are automatically fetched by taking some of the content of the were entered by BA in the requirements phase, and detailed and non-detailed, so non-functional. And what happens is you are able to generate the documents without much effort. So similarly, we could generate any amount of work without having to generate it manually every time. Okay. So if you see, the pre-sales team has done their part. Now you have business analysts who come and provide the process documents, the business process model the business architects can provide. You have information architects who provide your data model and probably your domain model, and you have technical architects who may come by and generate your or create your platform specific class models, and you have project managers and on-site team members who might want to reuse all of this and view many other factors about the project. Now let's see the generation, how it is done here. So by just clicking the master document, I could generate a RTF report. So I'll just generate it here. Okay. So what it essentially does is it reads the requirements model and some chapters from business process model and some from your um, deployment model diagrams, and generates your entire business requirements document. Now this can be done in part or in full, and what is generated is optional because it just gives you a fast start to complete your projects and not spend too much time generating documents. So the idea is to just only concentrate on our work and ensure that the rest is taken care of. So it's nearly completed our generation phase. So I could take you and show you the view. Okay, you get a message it's been done. Yes, and there are a few other things. You could enter project constants, application name, client name, component, project name. All these things are macros which are entered. You can keyword some of these in the document template so that they automatically get replaced, same as in Word macros. So let us just check out the documents here and see how it's been created. So sorry. Just view it. So if you see, we have got a Virtusa template which has already been fed into the system, so it can create your entire projects, and it can generate the models required, and the whole document is generated according to a specification without having to spend extra time on it. Yeah, sorry. Now most of these details are picked up from the models. Some of them are taken from the artifacts that we have generated. So if you see, the text and the models are picked up from different places and they are assembled together in this document. Now if these sections are not present, they don't get generated. So you can shorten your document, or you could have a very large document by including all the models. So this provides you a guideline on how to create the perfect reusable model. Since this model is entirely yours, you could even copy parts of it to other projects, especially in those areas that you're explaining features about a product or domain. So it can take up all the screenshots or explain the different requirements and helps us to put forward our complete design in textual format here. So that is model driven generation, and yeah, most practices use some common technology which shares some features and implementation framework. So what we try to do is we create a model and we reuse it across different clients, and we just change a few requirements we try to add the changes required for a product as per the client's needs. So non-functional requirements is scalability or performance, or it might remain mostly common as per the set of non-functional requirements are concerned for a product. so we can remove or add as required. So there is cross traceability that's provided here. Let's look into that one feature. So we'll go into relationship matrix. Now I could trace from any model to any model, but I have created some certain templates here so that I can quickly show you what we can map here. So first thing I do is I map all my requirements to use cases. So I ensure that no use cases, every requirement described has some use case that takes care of it. Then all of the models are mapped to the use case. So here some places more than one model takes care of it. For instance, flight schedule is taken care of by sort by cost, sort by time. All these are taken care of within the flight schedule. So each of the use cases are going to show that okay, this domain model is going to take care of all these functions. Now if you're going to see the screens, it shows you all the screens that have been created. Now there are certain screens that don't take care of any of these, and you can see that there is no mapping here. You can see in detail why that was missed or why that was not done. You have sequence to use case mapping to ensure that all your sequence diagrams for each of the use cases have been done and completed. Finally, you have test case mapping to each of the use case mapping. So these are some of the cross traceability functionality provided by the tool, and yeah. So as we have seen here, we can create master document template for any of the GIP assets of Virtusa. What has been completed is BRD, requirements document, DSRS, and technical design document, architecture document, and quality assurance and test plan documents. So basically your SDLC lifecycle is taken care of here. We try to ensure that we can do a good job and reuse what we make across projects, across practices, and we try to see if there's a way that we could train our people so that they could easily use this. As you can see, there is not much of work, but it requires just one small briefing and they should be able to do it. So thank you. Please send your questions and comments to rubengerard@gmail.com or rgmatthew@virtusa.com. Thank you so much.